Hi, everyone. I hope you're having a great day. I'm Katie, and if we haven't met yet, it's nice to meet you. Today, we're going to go over the business tax return pipeline, and I will show you how it works and what it looks like from both the firm side and the client side. So here we go. First, you're on this page, if you're seeing me, and we're going to hit the button that says Get for Free. Once you have done that, you're going to have package of templates downloaded to your portal. If you click on pipelines, you can see that you have the pipeline template. And then if you click on firm templates, you're going to see that you now have a template for an engagement letter, for job, some client-facing statuses, tasks, organizer, chats that will automatically send, emails that will automatically send, and invoices if you choose not to invoice with your engagement letter. So now we're going to look at adding a job to the pipeline. And the first thing we're going to do is click New and Job. Now we're going to choose our account. My test account is under my own name, which makes it a little easier to find. And I'm going to select the pipeline that I want to use. Here you can see that it's already chosen my job template because those are what I connected. And it's going to choose the last name. It's going to choose the name of the job template, which is going to be last year, the account business type. This is going to be a custom field that you put into your accounts, then tax return, and then the name of the account. If you are assigning these jobs this year, 2025, for 2025 tax returns, you want to make sure that you change this short code to say this year. Otherwise, it's going to say 2024. Then you can see that the roles that it is assigned to is the manager and the preparer. If you want to add a time budget, say you expect the tax return to only take 2 hours and you don't want it to go over, or if it goes over, you want to be notified, you can put that information in here. You can select the priority of how urgently you need this done. And then we have our start date and due date. If this is 0, that means it starts today. And then you can change that to however many days in the future you need it to be. And then your due date will also be however many days in the future you want it to be. You can also enter an intake date and an internal deadline date. And then in the description, you again see the name of the job. I'm going to go click Add. This is going to add it to our pipeline. Now, these are all the things that are in the first stage of our pipeline. I'm going to send an intro email to anybody that has a 1120 tag for their C Corp. I'm going to send an intro email to anybody that has an 1120S or a 1065, so for their S Corp or partnership. These intro emails are slightly different, as one has the due date of April 15th and one has a due date of March 15th. I'm going to send the proposal, the organizer, and then it's going to update the client-facing status to waiting for client. We're going to go ahead and click Move, so it's going to go ahead and take care of all of this. I do have an 1120 tag and a 1065 tag, so I can show you those different emails. So I'm going to click Move. And here you can see your job card. Job card is great. Think of it as your manila folder. Everything goes into it. At the bottom of your job card, you have the comment section. This is a great place to leave any notes or questions, answers for your colleagues that are related to the tax return that you are preparing or reviewing. It was also wonderful to link anything that you need to link so that you have everything in that manila folder. So I go ahead and click Save and Exit. And now we're going to go look at our pipeline. So here we are showing in the first stage. I'm going to show you the backside of the pipeline over here. So as we went over, we have our intro emails, our proposal, our organizer, and our client-facing job status in our first stage. So I'm going to go over to the client side, and we're going to go over what that shows. Now you can see the client side where I have the client-facing status is waiting for client. I have the organizer, and I have the engagement letter. If I go look at my email, you can see that I have 4 different emails. That's one of them is because I have both tags for an 1120 and a 1065, so duplicated those. So first, we're going to start with the bottom. This is going to be for my 1120 tax return. And it's letting you know that to ensure they meet the April 15th filing deadline, we need all of their information by, and right now it says November 15th, but that would obviously be changed by you to whatever date you want it to be. So our next email is letting us know that there is an organizer to complete, that our signature is required. And then the other intro email is letting us know that the March 15th filing date. We're going to go back to our client portal. I'm going to go ahead and look at the organizer. I'm going to put my business name as it is a required section. And then I'm not going to fill out the whole thing. It'll take forever. But as you can see, it's going to ask for basic information about the company. Depending on what you answer can change the questions that the client has to answer. So they'll continue going through all of these questions. These questions are obviously going to be needed to answer the tax return. And as you go through it, it's going to ask for some more information. The partnership, a principal shareholder, they'll need to fill out. If they have more than one partner, they can go ahead and click repeat section. And now it is a duplicate, and they can go ahead and fill out the next partner. They can do this as many times as they need to. Then once they're done, they'll go ahead and click next. They'll upload all the documents that they need to upload. Then there's some more questions about their inventory. If they have foreign accounts, anything else. If there's anybody that's disabled, did they have to make expansions to make their business more accessible? And then they can upload any additional documents that they need to, and they will click submit. And then I'll be able to see that their organizer is completed. So we're going to go back to the home page. And now we're going to click sign proposal. Now, as you can see here, we have 2 packages that we can choose from, depending on what package we want. So I'm going to go ahead with the lower package. I'm going to click select. Now I'm going to be able to view the engagement letter. This is going to just be the terms, make sure everybody agrees on what's going on. And then at the bottom, I'll be able to sign my name and click accept and then complete. I'm going to go back to the client portal, and now it's going to show that I have an invoice to pay. You can make it so that it has to do an automatic payment with the engagement letter, or you can make it do a manual payment, which is what this is. So we're going to go ahead and pay this invoice. And I do have a credit on my account for the same amount. So I'm going to go ahead and click pay invoice. And now it's going to show you that it is paid, and it's going to give you a button to go back to the client portal. So now it's showing you that you paid your invoice. And when you go back to home, there's nothing left for you to do. It's going to let you know that your tax return is in review. Basically, this one's going to be documents in review, so we can go ahead and change that as necessary. If we go ahead and refresh our page, it's going to show you that our job is now moved to the next stage, as everything in the first stage has been completed. So everything in the second page is going to be a tax prep review documents, and then the client-facing job status as in review. Now, if we go to our Inbox Plus, we're going to see that the organizer was completed, that there's an engagement letter, which both processed through and triggered the review documents task. And then I'll also see that the invoice was paid. So we're going to go ahead and look at our task. And once we look at our task, you can see all the details that need to be taken care of. And if we scroll down, we can have some subtasks. So the first thing we want to do is just make sure everything that we need is uploaded. And if anything is missing, you want to make sure that you request that information. We're going to go ahead and check these off. And then we're going to mark our status on the task as complete. This is going to trigger the next stage, as everything in this stage is now completed. We refresh our page. We now have a task that says prepare tax return. If we look at our pipeline, you can see that we've moved to the next stage. And if we go look at the backside of our pipeline, we can see that the third stage consists of a task for prepare the tax return. It updates the client-facing job status to in progress. It sends a message to the client letting them know that we're preparing their tax return. And it'll update the account tag to move missing information. Now, the reason this is on here is because you can change your client-facing job status, if necessary, to missing information to let the client know that there's still missing information. And then once that is complete, you want to make sure that you remove that tag so there's no confusion later. So we're going to go and look at the client portal. I'm going to go ahead and click refresh. And it's going to let you know that the work in progress is in progress. And then if we open our chat, it's going to let you know that thank you for submitting your organizers. We've started reviewing and preparing your tax return. Go back home. We've read it, so now it is gone. Now we're going to go back to the firm portal. We're going to open the tax return, prepare tax return task. And again, it has all the information that you need to know about what task is for. And then the subtask is reminding you to upload the tax return to the proper subfolder. So we're going to go ahead and click that we've completed that. And then we're going to mark the task as complete and save. This is going to trigger our next stage, which is going to be manager review. We look at the backside. Our manager review stage or in review stage is going to be a manager review task. It's going to update the client-facing job status to in review, and it's going to send a message to them to let them know that their tax return is in review. You can go over to the client side, refresh the page. And you can see that they have now an in review job status. And if we open the chat, there's a new one that says a manager is currently reviewing your return. They might be in touch in 7 days, within the next 7 days. They do not need to reply to the message. So now we're going to go back to the form account and to the Inbox Plus. We're going to open our manager review task. We have our description. And this time we do not have any subtasks. So we could go ahead and just mark our task complete once we've finished the review and click save. This is now sending you to the next stage. In the next stage, we have to invoice client. This is in case that you don't invoice your client as part of your engagement letter. It's just a reminder to make sure that you invoice them. It is going to set a client-facing job status for waiting for payment and signature. You're going to get a task for requesting the signature. And then you're also going to have a message sent to the client that they should be expecting an invoice and signature request. All of this can be edited to remove the payment information. And I can show you how to do that now. We're going to go ahead and click for templates, client-facing job statuses. And if you come down here to waiting for payment and signature, you're going to go ahead and click the pencil. And you would just delete payment and so it would say waiting for signature. Click. And then you'd click save. And then for the chat, you would go to the chats. You would click on the one that says invoice and signature request coming. You would change the name of it to make sure that you delete an invoice coming. You can delete invoice up here. And then you would delete in the chat message also. And you can just edit your template and then you click save and exit. So now you're going to go back to the firm side, the client side, and click refresh. We now have a message letting them know that they're going to get their signature request and an invoice. We go home, going to let them know that they're waiting for payment and signature. We go to our Inbox Plus. We now have a reminder to invoice our client and request a signature. So we're going to go ahead and click on Invoice Client. There's a lovely description of what you need to do. And then it reminds you to create the invoice in TaxDome. Once you've completed it, you go ahead and mark completed and click Save. And then once you have opened your request signature, again, it has that lovely description. If you scroll down, it has some subtasks that are important. Obviously, you want to upload your signature page. You want to make sure you link the job or link the document to the job. This is going to stop the job from progressing until the signature has been completed. If you're invoicing at this time, you want to make sure that you link the invoice to the document. By doing this, you will be able to stop the client from signing and viewing the return until they make payment. This is important to make sure that you do get paid. And then you wanted to complete the signature requests. So we'll go ahead and mark all these off, make sure that you've completed everything. And then we're going to mark the task as completed. Now it is letting you know that it's time to e-file the return. So next we have our e-file return task. We're going to go ahead and click on that. And it's going to give us all the information we need about e-filing our return and why. And if we scroll down, it's going to let us know that we need to confirm if it's accepted or rejected. And if rejected, we need to make sure that we message the client and ask for any information that we are missing. That way we can refile the return and make sure that it gets accepted. Once that is completed, you want to make sure that you go to the job status here and click complete. This is going to move your job forward again. You are not going to get any more tasks as now the job is finished. But if we go to the client account, now looking at the client side, you can see that there is a client-facing job status. This is done. Return has been e-filed, and they received a chat. The chat lets them know that their return has been e-filed. And if we go back to our firm side, we can see that we're in our last stage, and our actions are to update the client-facing job status, which was done. It's going to remove any account tags that were added, which is going to be the missing information and an extension tag if you needed to use that. It's going to send an email asking for a review, and it's going to send a message letting them know that their e-file was returned. Their return was e-filed. So if we go back to the email, you're going to see this email for asking for a review. And in the templates, you want to make sure that you do put your link for a review here. Otherwise, this is what they're going to see, and they're not going to be able to give you a review, which makes this obsolete. If you have any questions, you can reach out on the community, or you can reach out to the success team at success@taxdome.com. Thanks and have a great day.